NBLC Championship action live on NBLC.TV, and it all goes down right now from Budweiser Gardens. Amir Williams wins the opening tip-off, and it is Burns carrying the ball up the court.
All the fans are still standing till the first bucket scored.
As
That's
is
tradition.
Terry Thomas going to oblige it right here for the first bucket of the game.
Big guy, left-handed no less. He's not left-handed, folks. He's right-handed.
He is our player of the game to watch for the London Lightning, as he is the sixth man of the year and the Canadian player of the year. In fact, you probably saw on the screen him getting some of that hardware from the commissioner in Audley Stevenson. Trying to go at the loose change here was Kindred. They said it went off of his hand last, so London ball.
Yeah, they forced him into a tough running floater there, fading to his left, shooting off his right.
Terry Thomas, who inbounds the ball now, started 9 of 21 games for Doug Plum's team, and yet led the entire squad with 699 minutes of court time. He accumulated 362 points, 130 rebounds, and 31 steals. And here he hits more nylon from downtown.
Lester Thomas, he's played the most minutes of any London Lightning in the playoffs. I'm going to dare say probably a season when I look back. Hits his first 2 shots.
Jesse Jones, he's really filled in for Frazier and Ferguson in the postseason. Pulls up the 3 ball, hits the back of the rim.
Not a single KW rebounder. They're not crashing the boards offensively. They're getting back on defense right away.
Jermaine Haley slicing and dicing away from Kindred, finds himself underneath the basket and rolls this one on.
Good fake, good patience. Got the big guy up in the air. You can see the strategy of London. They want to take it to the big guy right away.
Down 7-0 early. Remember, the Titans were actually 4-8 on the road during the regular season away from the odd, and 1-1 so far in the postseason as the first buckets of the game for the Titans comes through their MVP, and rightfully so, Joel Kindred.
3-point shot. He can be very good from out there.
Kindred, as I mentioned before, 1,029 minutes as Amir Williams can't get this shot to go, and led the squad with 628 points as a result. Jesse Jones coasts in off the square and brings his team within 2 early.
A little bit of fight back there from KW. 7-5,
and by the way,
the gap.
We talk about Jordan Jensen-White being into the starting 5 over Marek Isom. I look over at the London bench. Who's on the bike already getting his legs warmed up? It's Marek Isom, the Texas native.
He knows he's coming in. He knows that for sure.
Jermaine Haley, step back 3, grazes the rim. Kindred pulls away the board.
It's a low percentage shot, a step back from outside to 3. London didn't work the ball around the tall.
Jesse Jones, he's been the hot hand, as I've mentioned, for Neil Foreman in the postseason. He's going to leave this and give and go. Being watched by Jordan Jensen-White. Nice pass to Tate. Tate got fouled on the drive-by by Burns.
He got swiped across the face from what it looked like here. He's going to be shooting 3. First foul on London.
Now, Tyrell Tate, I mentioned it before, he played for Sudbury Partner, but this is our first time actually seeing him play at Budweiser Gardens this year. He's played for the Cleveland Charge, the Texas Legends, and the Capital City Go-Go in the G League. Debuted in this league with the Moncton Magic back in 2015. He's had a stint in Windsor, and like I mentioned before, with the 5 of Sudbury, before joining the KW Titans. And remember, he was a 2019 NBLC First Team All-Star. A little bit of a cheeky play on Burns there, got him to the line 3 times.
Yes. So coming off a big game on their last win against Sudbury's 32 points. They're going to need that again from him tonight to complement Joel Kindred and take the pressure off of him.
And actually, while the free throws were taking place, Jesse Jones and Darnell Landon, the Canadian Woodbridge native, went over to their coach, Neil Foreman, got more instructions, as doing the damage at the free throw line was the aforementioned Tyrell Tate.
Yeah, they're up by 1 now.
First taste of the championship for the Titans.
Well, like I said, there's a lot of different cast of characters. There are some players that are back from that upset.
Amir Williams sends the 3 away. Splash.
He's really developed his 3-point game, has he not? The last second half of the season. First half of the season, he hardly took any, but now he's getting more and more confident with it, and he nailed that one.
When he shot 67% from the field, John, during the regular season to lead the team. Yeah, 67%.
Pretty good shooting. What do you think is a good average from the field? That's, I think you put it in context.
Well, I'm just saying 138 of 206, but then you add the fact that they're not all from the telephone booth. They're from outside the perimeter, too.
Some truth there. Well, I'm just saying 67%, which includes the 3-point shot.
To me, is insane.
Right? It is. Well, a good average for shooting for a player in this league, if you're shooting over 40 to 43%, you're a really good shooter. 67%, that's ridiculous.
Up top, it's Walker throwing down the Jones alley-oop, and, well, ties it up at 10 early.
Yeah, they got the mismatch underneath, and we're patient enough. Not patient enough that time for Burns.
I agree with Kindred on that one. I think folding like an old summer lawn chair was Jermaine Haley, and he bought the call.
Chair. I think he was expecting contact, and it wasn't there. So,
well, the official got fooled by it, though.
I always feel badly for the defensive player there, because a lot of times all you did was get out of the way. So.
Quickly, I'll be able to tell you the officials for tonight's game. The crew chief is Greg Spagnoli. He's joined by Rich Stellick and Tony Turnbull. Those are your three officials for Game 1 of this championship series. Burns coasting down to the baseline. A lofty pass to Amir Williams. He'll go to the bank on Friday night.
Again, dribble inside. The big guy followed him. He just handed it off to the mismatch with Williams. That's two quick ones on Burns. They need him on the floor for his three-point threat, not just dribbling, drive, and assist.
Hands in the cookie jar that time from Burns.
That was an unnecessary foul right at half.
And remember, John, in that last game back on Friday where they swept up the Express on the road in the City of Roses, Burns led the charge with 29 points and 3 assists over 39 minutes of play. It was coupled by a double-double from Amir Williams and a double-double from Terry Thomas.
And he's getting the quick hook already because they can't afford to get him his third foul just 4 minutes into the game. Marique Eisen, first one off the bench.
Jesse Jones ran right into Amir Williams. That's the first one in my mind, partner. The first of many of the block party.
Yes, I agree. And Williams did a great job staying straight up and vertical. He's allowed to challenge and make contact. As long as your arms are straight up in the air, you're not the one initiating it.
That's Jabari Craig. Turns around and puts up a bit of an awkward three. I think he forced that one, John.
Yeah, I think it was a broken play there. He had lots of time in the shot clock yet.
And look at the battle between the Joneses. Or I apologize. That was actually Kindred on defense, but we got Jesse Jones over there in a number 3 jersey, and we got Chris Jones over here in a number 3
Good thing
jersey.
they're in different colors. Yellow and black, right? Is that what we call it, black?
We'll go with that.
Okay, we'll go with black, okay.
We're both wearing Kitchener blue colors tonight, John, and we don't even got to be on TV.
Own the blue color, like, come on. This is one of my favorite shirts.
No, it's the championship. You got to pick yellow or blue. Look at this nice reverse layup. That's the reason why he was the most valuable player.
Yeah, he can get a shot from anywhere if you let him put the ball on the floor and blow it by you.
So this time it is Chris Jones. I got to mark on my palm here. Yellow Jones. There we go. As Forte receives this, tries to reverse it, can't get any love. You got to think for Forte, he's going to want to make some noise in this series against that guy who he feels took away his MVP trophy in Joel Kindred and won.
Good. Kitchener's come out to play. They got sort of gobsmacked there in the first 2 possessions, but they rallied, playing solid defense, and they're starting to run the floor on KW at a faster pace than I thought they would be.
Cameron Forte started this year, partner, started the first 9 of 9 games for Doug Plum. He ended up finishing 13 of 20 games started for Doug Plum. But going back to that first 9, it really felt like it was his MVP trophy to lose. Then once he turned into more of a bench player, it wasn't that necessarily the production went down. Remember, he still led the Lightning with 402 points and 214 rebounds. But yet, it was Joel Kindred's constant 40-plus minutes of court time every night that kind of, bewildered the trophy back into his possession.
Well, that kind of play will earn you an MVP as well. What he was doing, battling for the boards under there and getting that. Now, the role changed for him a bit because Amir Williams started coming on so well through the second half of the season that they sort of switched up who's the starter, who's coming off the bench. But any teams that playing against London going like, that's the 1-2 punch, like, I got to play Williams as a starter and then Forte as a bench guy? You got to be kidding me.
Titans with a 3-point lead. Looking to add to it is Jesse Jones. He has been on fire to start this game, John.
Well, a lot of teammates helping out Joel Kindred right now. Not all the pressure on him. They're coming through. So Terry Thomas loses the ball.
Kicks it out to Haley. They're going to say he stepped out of bounds in your favorite spot on the court.
Yes, it is. This happened many, many times.
So Kindred, we knew he had to be the MVP. He's going to go off for a rest right now for Neil Foreman.
That's great timing early in the game. Get him off, a close game.
He does have 2 fouls early.
Yeah, but he plays so many minutes as well just to get him a rest. And the game is close.
Starts this game,
they're up by 5.
3 of 4 from the field, 1 of 1 from downtown for 8 points to lead everybody on the hardwood. Jabari Craig fakes the pass to Juwan Miller and instead gives it to Tyrell Tate, who didn't get love off the rim, but Jabari Craig, 2-hand cram.
London not keeping contact with the offensive players on the defensive rebounds. You got to keep contact with them, know where they're going.
I mean, Jabari Gregg and Tyron Walker, not a bad tandem to try and, compete with Amir Williams and Cameron Forte. Terry Thomas's corner three won't go. Cameron Forte battling for the ball. They're going to say he was pushed out of bounds, John, so London possession.
I think KW been consistent all year, those options. Kindred's been consistent all year, not the other than Ferguson. I'm going to give him that. The other ones have had some big games in playoffs. There's 2 games where there were no shows whatsoever, and they played. They just didn't contribute.
The Louisville product, Chris Jones inbounds it to Terry Thomas, and the East Preston, Nova Scotia native goes to work. You wanted a palm ball there, John, but you're not going to get it. Amir Williams caps off the play.
Yeah, that has really changed in the basketball sense. A lot more of the sort of what I would call carrying the ball from left to right or right to left.
Things they used to call out a lot more.
Yes. And I think that was an intentional change in basketball as well, but it really puts a defender at a big disadvantage. You have no idea where they're going.
Darnell Landon was trying to find Jesse Jones with the pass. Couldn't hit him up as the Lightning defender got in the way, but here comes the inbound to Jabari Craig.
Jabari Craig's playing a lot of minutes instead of Walker. Walker's sitting on the bench as well.
Got to feel great for Darnell Landon as Jabari Craig loses Amir Williams and caps off the easy bucket.
He sealed him off. Great pass over the top of Amir Williams.
For Darnell Landon, the 6'2 product of Woodbridge, Ontario, John, he played for the St. John Riptide in 2018, played for the Island Storm in 2019, and yet here in 2022, he's in the championship dance with the KW Titans. Ice 'em! Bullseye from downtown.
Terrific quick pass from Haley and no hesitation, no pitching a shot that time. This percentage is way up when he shoots so smooth like that.
Trying to respond for the Titans, pulling up the 3 ball, and that's the second time that's happened in this game for Tate, where he puts up the shot. The shot's bouncing off the rim, John, and that's when the contact comes in.
Shooter's touch, soft touch.
But it's also, if you're a Lightning fan, just don't touch him. Like, the shot's not going in. If you don't touch him, you get the ball in your possession.
Well, fouls are starting to pile up a little bit here for London Lightning. Already 4 team fouls here halfway through this quarter.
I talked about Tyrell Tate's experience in the G League. He's actually a product of Fayetteville State. That's an NCAA 2 program where he had over 2,000 minutes and over 1,200 points for the Broncos, as they're known, the Fayetteville State Broncos, John.
I'm always impressed by your depth of knowledge. I know you're reading it off a script, but you did all that homework. You put it all on paper. You learned it all. I'm very impressed.
Crossing over midcourt for the Titans and his team having a 7-point lead.
That was a Chris Jones foul, an illegal screen that just happened.
Miller trying to feed Craig. Too hot to handle, back to Miller. That should be a backcourt violation, and it is.
So what I see on the floor right now with Haley, he's being guarded by a much smaller player. I don't think London has really adjusted to what the mismatch is there. If I'm looking on the floor, I see Haley with a huge mismatch underneath.
Haley and Jones playing a little hot potato right now. Ice him late to the party on the screen. Haley throws down the 3. It won't go. Jabari Craig been all over the court here for Neil Foreman and the Titans.
He's playing terrific at the moment with a lot of energy.
3-on-3 damage as Jones tried to go to work on Jones. He wanted a foul on the play. Isn't going to get it. Tyrell Tate steps out for a bucket. Jabari Craig wanted to throw the hammer down there.
He was up there.
The Titans have come out with a lot of energy here on the road for game 1, John. As Jones, double team, kicks it out for Amir Williams. 3 won't go down. Haley pulls away the offensive board. Back to Williams, and 1.
And that's where Haley needs to be on any kind of offensive shot. He needs to crash the board because he has a much smaller player on him. I think they should get Amir Williams currently out of the key because he has Jabari on him. Greg, who's the same matchup. Haley has the big mismatch down there.
Now, Jabari Craig, he's a Scarborough, Ontario native. In fact, he was also a draft pick in the D League then. Now it's known as the G League. And in fact, back in 2018, he was a 22nd overall pick in the first round for the Long Island Nets. As Amir Williams can hit this one from the charity stripe. And remember, London still shooting 68.4% from the charity stripe. That is the worst in the league.
But not in the playoffs.
That's correct.
In the playoffs, they shot 77%. Which is far above their average.
However, for the Titans, though, John, if you include the postseason, the regular season, 72.2%.
Yeah, and that makes a difference if you get to the foul line, and that's part of what I'm saying is London got to the foul line 40 times on average.
Haley on the recycling bin, exactly where you said he should be.
Yeah, as soon as the ball goes up, he needs to go to the boards. He has nobody to match up, nobody to box out again. They're all worried about Amir Williams.
He's got 4 points, looking to add to it. Tried to put it up over Marique Isom, and, well, it's a brick instead. Jones, that's Chris Jones. Stutter stepping up the court. Give and go with Amir Williams. Jones the general on the court right now, John, but I don't see much separation to put any play structure through. As Amir Williams has the ball commandeered away by Juwan Miller. The Kitchener product cuts into the key, puts up the shot. He'll go to the line to shoot 2.
As Jensen has had a tough time with a small player that can move very quickly laterally. It was a mismatch the other way that time. Quickness against big.
I talked about this during a game earlier this year with the Sudbury 5, George Ceres. He's an Original 5 member, a Sudbury, Ontario product, and played his collegiate ball in Sudbury for the Laurentian Voyageurs, so a true homegrown product. Now, Juwan Miller, yeah, well, he did go to Missouri S&T Rolla in the States.
Wow.
However, he's the Kitchener boy playing for his hometown Titans. Last year, started 2 of 19 games and averaged 11.7 minutes per contest. That's got to feel great considering he's getting more representation, more responsibility from Neil Foreman, and finds himself in the championship, although he misses this one from the line.
Yeah, made his first, missed the second. But he's given good minutes so far for KW. That's what they need.
In fact, during his time at Missouri S&T Rolla, he was a 2017 GLVC All-Defensive Team member when he started 26 of 26 games for him. Trying to add to the 4-point lead is Joel Kindred.
Nice.
Now he's got 10 points to lead everybody on the court.
He had the size advantage there on Chris Jones, and Chris Jones wisely backed off.
Chris Jones splits the seam, and they're going to count this one. Hoop bend the harm.
I think he started his first step. That's why they did it.
Now, for a guy like Chris Jones, he's been around the block, partner, not just here in the league with the Windsor Express prior to coming to London, but you got to think France, Germany, Greece, Mexico before joining Windsor in 2018. This has to be pretty special for the Louisville product, who again left the year prior to Patino and the Cardinals winning the national championship. As the free throw troubles continue, John, we'll see if that plays a detriment at the end of this one. Kindred trying to add to his totals, can't do it here. The bouncing ball rolls into the lap of Chris Jones. And I'm going to say this one more time because I know it just gets under your cross so bad, John Van Houwelingen, as Jones for 3 nails it. But it was a gentleman's sweep during the regular season.
I've never heard that term. I think you made that up.
Maybe I did.
Maybe I did.
No, John, come on.
Never heard
as
it.
Again, London won 5 of the 6 games. They allowed Kitchener to win 1. They were really gentlemanlike in doing that.
I think Kitchener was full value for it. That's what I'm going to say if I'm a Kitchener W.
And that
KW
one win
fan.
for the Titans as Kindred pulls up the 3 was a 103-102 thriller at the odd back on April the 2nd. And in that game, John, who led the charge? Chad Frazier, 31 points. Eric Ferguson, 23 points. Both not available for Neil
50
Foreman.
points in that game, my goodness.
Approaching the final minute of play, Tyrell Tate pulls up, can't get it to go, and London has a chance to regain the lead here in the first quarter of play.
There's no big on for London right now, if you notice.
Isom
no Williams
open
and no Forte.
3. And the tiny Chris Jones tries to out-battle Tyrell Tate for the ball. Kindred, wow, goes right after Isom and lays it off the window and kisses the rim.
I like that. It's a no call as well by the refs that time.
Let the boys play. Terry Thomas, tie game, 29-29.
It's a high-scoring quarter, almost 30 points a team here.
The 6th man of the year, the Canadian player of the year, the East Crested Nova Scotia native, Terry
and the
Thomas.
Iron Man of the year, I'm going to give him too. Most minutes, played every game, all that kind of stuff, right?
Although the only guy on the court that can say they've started 28 of 28 games is Joel Kindred. Why is that, John? London's only played 27.
I gotcha.
Last shot of the opening quarter if they want it. Down by 2. 3 seconds left. Jones attacks the rim, and we're tied up as the buzzer goes. 31-31 in this game 1 of a best-of-5 NBLC championship. Making it a true battle of the Titans, and I'll throw the pun in there intentionally, but in all honesty, John, this is a team in its first championship dance that had a 500 record during the regular season, going against a 20-4 squad looking for their leading fifth championship. I mean, this is technically David versus Goliath when you look at it from a championship
From a franchise
standpoint.
perspective,
That's
yes.
right.
But if I look on the players on the floor, right, who's been in championship games, who's been on a winning team before? And it's been 2 years with no championships either, so it's been a long time since there's even been a finals.
The Moncton Magic in 2019 are the last team to claim the National Basketball League of Canada championship as Amir Williams receives your favorite bounce pass and puts in two.
Absolutely. Terrific setup by Terry Thomas.
And again, going back to that 2019 postseason where the Moncton Magic won the last championship, London and KW met in the opening series. It was a best of 5. Well, it went to game 5 of best of 5 as Darnell Landon ripples some twine here, and we're tied up at 33s. But the interesting note about that series, the home team lost every game.
Yeah, that's a very unusual stat, yeah.
And
Terry Thomas has a big mismatch underneath there if you have a look at it. See if London can pick up on it.
And he's kind of gone undetected into that far corner. Foul is called on Jones.
A bit of a late whistle, but I think that's the correct call, though. I saw Thomas darting in the back door from there. Would have been a nice dump-off pass as well. But he gained the foul, did Chris Jones, going to the foul line.
Tyrell Tate looks like he's going to come back into this game for Neil Foreman. He's going to rest his MVP, Joel Kindred.
And was that foul on Kindred? That's what I would really like to know that.
I think it is just for the mere fact that Joel
the body
Kindred,
language, 3 fouls on him. Yes, oh my goodness, that is big time. Can KW keep up the pace in the second quarter with maybe very little playing time from Joel Kindred in this quarter?
Well, guys like Jesse Jones and Tyrell Tate, just like they've done in games 2, 3, and 4 of the Sudbury series, really have to step up in the lack of a presence of a Eric Ferguson or a Chad Frazier, who, let's face it, over the course of the regular season, really supported that Joel Kindred MVP type year.
Absolutely. Good complementary players for each other.
The aforementioned Jones speeds up the court. I believe that's Miller left open, and
good thing he made that shot, because that was a great time to do a little alley-oop to Walker. He was like, why did you pass it to me? I'm waiting for it. But he made the shot, so all's good.
And they've hooked up earlier in this game, if you recall.
All's well, it ends well.
Haley leaves it there for Burns, who again is trying to get off the schneid, so to speak. 0 for 1 in this game. No points after a 29-point performance in the previous playoff game. Here he is, Johnny on the spot. I was going to say book it, but you can't. Terry Thomas got a...
Yeah, it was a bit of a collision underneath there. One trying to box out, one going to the rim. I think it was more incidental, but the foul is on the defender. He didn't have a good position. Terry Thomas a little banged up there.
Well, I'm not trying to put a bad omen on the gentleman, because I enjoyed talking to him pregame, but remember the last time Tyron Walker was in this building, got injured in the opening half of play.
He did, yes.
I also think back to the unfortunate injury that Harris suffered by the guy that's got the ball right now, Amir Williams, receiving an elbow in one of the last games of the regular season. His presence was dearly missed by Elliot Etherington in the postseason for the 5. 3 seconds left on the shot clock. Jones puts up the prayer. It won't go down. Trying to battle for the ball is Williams. They're calling him on the push.
A little bit over the back there. Didn't have great position. So referee called it on him. To me, it was just a battle of the bigs. That's what Amir Williams is saying. Like, I'm just battling with him. I didn't think I'd try to get an advantage, but he was in a poor offensive position to get a rebound there. So
wanted to try and talk to the assistant coach, Cliff Clinkscales of the KW Titans.
Great
Remember,
player,
he actually finished his playing career in this league as the all-time leading assist getter when he was with the Halifax Hurricanes.
He was so good.
There's that. Well, I was going to say alley-oop pass, but a little late in the jump was Tyran Walker, so he settles it down for a teammate. He goes back to battling for the ball.
Other way. Walker's going to get over the back because Amir Williams had good defensive position, so tip for tat.
So not a block party and over the back party.
But, so I'm not 100% like they're battling for the ball, but that's a foul, but they call it the same on both ends, so coaches should be happy.
It's even Steven.
Even Steven, yeah.
35-35. Speaking of even Steven, John, with 9:41 remaining here in the first half clock. This is game one of a best-of-5 championship series. Jermaine Haley cuts into the key, and Williams feeds him the
And
rock.
look who's guarding him. He's Miller. He's like 7 inches shorter than him. They're probably 100 pounds lighter. And what a great move by Haley to go back door. There's no way they're going to stop that one.
Well, I have to, get my mathematics out here. Juwan Miller is 5'11", and opposing him in the uniform for the Lightning is the 6'8" Haley.
So what's that? My math was pretty good, right?
It was. Although this time the Mighty
Yeah,
Mouse gets in there.
I don't know if the ball hit the rim. That is the question, right? If the
I
ball hit the
believe
rim,
it did.
but I don't know if it did. They're going to go together. Did the ball? It didn't look like the ball moved at all. I don't know if you guys have
I think
any
it
kind
just
of a replay
grazed
on that.
it a little bit.
But they're all talking. Did the ball hit the rim? Because if so, then he's got a second chance because the shot clock resets.
That's
if
right.
not, he did not put it in. So they're going to call it. What are you going to say, Mr. Stellick?
They're counting it.
He counts it. They said it's grazed the rim.
And that's what I saw, John.
You did. You had pretty good eyes from up here. My goodness.
We actually were talking about this pregame. Normally the broadcast crew would be right on the scorer's table. We're all the way up here in the nosebleed, so to speak.
Nosebleed. Is that what they call it?
They gave you
How's
the
a bird's eye view?
They gave you the cheap seat.
The bird's eye view.
That's Amir Williams. There's a Walker pick in his pocket, but Jones collects it. 9 seconds left on the shot clock. Chris Jones drives into the key, tried to leave it there for Terry Thomas.
Again, I think a leading bounce pass that is so much easier to handle in traffic, but it's a bounce because most of the time the defender can only
12-0 record during the regular season, but Kitchener was a very respectable 8-4
at home, right?
And to your last point, John, they haven't lost at home in the postseason after having the 3-1 sweep. No, I'm not going to say
Is that a gentleman's sweep? I don't think so.
No, it's not. No, it's
I'm trying.
See, now you got me.
I just don't get it.
Now
So.
you got me crossed
I
up
just
on
don't get
myself.
it. So.
Jesse Jones, Tyran Walker, Darnell Landon, threes away, book it.
It's the first good look he's had, and he buried it.
Also noticing a KW contingency that made the trip down the 401. They got the seats right behind the bench.
Seats, yep.
That's right. Normally here at Budweiser Gardens, when the opposition scores, it's like a library of silence. Well, no, there's a little bit of a cheering section behind Neil Foreman's crew as the block party is claimed a victim in Terry Thomas. It's Tyran Walker breaking out a piece. Jones, look at the speed on this guy. Feeds an open Tate, threes away, nylon ripper.
You know what the key to that was? Well, not only the block, but how fast did Tate get in the corner? He's ahead of the ball dribbler who was already going at warp speed. How did he get there first? And that's what created that opening and a wide open shot.
Burns, fade away two, won't go. Williams on the board. They'll battle with a fellow big and Walker. In the key, shots up, won't go. Haley trying to patty kick the rebound down. It's Walker pulling away the rock.
That's his third offensive rebound already. I think he can really contribute there tonight, Ken Haley.
And again, Walker isn't necessarily known for his scoring, John, but yet with 2 blocks, 1 assist, and 4 rebounds already in the first half, he gets it done in other ways.
Yeah, his specialty is blocks, is absolutely right. Creates so much havoc inside for the offensive players, but it gets his team out and running quite often as well, as we saw in the last play.
Jesse Jones, by the way, I don't think I've seen that too often, literally looked at his coach, Neil Foreman, and said, I'm dog tired, and yet he's not coming off the court. He's staying on. Neil Foreman said, I don't care how tired you are. You're not fitting into my schematics right now.
Yeah, they're up by 6 again, are the Titans.
And London shot out to a 7-0 lead, trailed by 7, tied things back up. Is following similar story from the regular season as going high off the glass is Miller time.
I think Forte didn't step over quick enough to cut off that lane. He was falling from behind the whole time.
Offense wins you offense sells you tickets, I should say, John, and the London Lightning have put out a league best 109 points per game, but it's the defense that wins you championships. And it really feels like the Titans have brought the better D here tonight. Terry Thomas, fadeaway 2, book it.
Just great recognition. Back to smaller play around, just a turnaround, easy jumper. No help was coming. He didn't give up the ball. He had the mismatch. Just terrific, smart basketball.
A battle between the Joneses at midcourt. As that'll be, stymied by the Landon pass to the near side, watched by Jordan Jensen-White. Uses a Jabari Gregg screen, threes away, too much muscle. The loose change rolls out to midcourt. It actually should be Titans' ball as it was Jordan Jensen-White punching it forward. And again, folks, Game 2 of this best-of-5 series takes place Sunday afternoon. That's a 2 p.m. tip-off. We're the series will switch over to the Kitchener-Waterloo side of things for Game 3 and 4. And if Game 5 is needed, yes, it's back here at the Bud.
It's on a Monday night, I think, isn't it? June the 6th or something.
Yeah, all the way in June. Tyrell Tate to Jabari Craig. Say it with me, partner. Oh, me.
Oh my. A terrific reverse inadvertent dunk. That was awesome. Great recognition and body control at the end.
Unintentional, intentional jammery.
Just great athletic ability.
Like you're talking about the vertical on this guy, it's insane. As this goes off the shoelaces of Jones.
Terrific double team.
He just got it done with the reverse alley-oop jam. He gets it done with the double team defense.
Yeah,
Jabari
long
Craig.
arms, quick.
The Scarborough native, by the way.
Yeah, nowhere to go, Jones.
Tyrell Tate. Miller is getting a lot of playing time, large in part to, again, no Ferguson or Frazier for Neil Foreman to go
and
to.
No Kindred, he's on the bench.
Kindred, by the way, 3 fouls, John. For the Lightning, though, Jones and Williams have 2 each. My word, he will not be denied, Jesse Jones.
That's right. They are bringing it to London right now. London is getting punched in the mouth by KW, and to see if there is a response here.
Jordan Jensen White trying to get his team back into this game as they're down by 10 now here late in the second quarter. Cameron Forte, Lightning fans want to see a lot more of that.
That was a little bit of bully ball, but I didn't think that was a foul on Forte. But Kindred jumped off the bench and started yelling in the official's ear.
And
Coach had to pull him back.
One. Tyrell Tate responds the other way.
My goodness, they are bringing it this first half. London is going to have to adapt.
And to your point earlier from the Forte bucket, you're right. Kindred was massively upset, it looked like, coming off the bench on the non-call.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. People on the floor, people leaving the floor, people
I think
walking
they
everywhere.
thought there was a timeout called, but there isn't.
Okay, is that what you think it was? You're like, what is everybody doing on the floor here?
Yeah, the whole team was doing the whole,
like,
celebration
what?
mode. Hey, we got them to call timeout, yeah.
They're up by 10, KW. Wow. You did not expect this, did you, Johnny?
Let's see how the fourth plays out.
Yeah, well, I agree. And I'm going to give kudos to the coach of the year, because he's coach of the year for the reason, Doug Plum. He is terrific in game adjustment, game strategy.
Surprised we haven't seen a clipboard be broken yet down there. Burns' pass was actually slapped at by Terry Thomas. Breaking his own ankle is Haley. He's slow to get up.
Yeah,
Kitchener Marauders the ball away.
That should be a charge. Yes, sir. Is that a charge or a block? What are they calling it?
Charge.
It's a charge. I thought Jones was in place while he did terrific courage there. And we saw that all year. He's probably been on the floor the most of the London Lightning players.
Now, Jabari Craig, to his credit, though, kind of got that pass a little late.
Know,
by the time he could turn northbound, it's like, oh, Chris Jones right in front of him.
But he still took a step, right? So he had time to stop and pop. But
down by 10. Their opponent shooting 60% right now. Kitchener's made 21 of their first 35 shots in this game.
They are amped. You can see it, the body language out there. They are like primed.
Whatever Neil Foreman said in the locker room before this game has seemed to work so far in the Forest City. Burns receives it from Jones, feeds him back the rock. 7 seconds left on the shot clock. Jones attacks the basket, loses the Tyrell Tate defender.
Terrific ball fake. Got the defender in the air, just ducked underneath him. Ball fakes are a lost art sometimes.
Yeah, Tyrell Tate performed the drive-by. Oh, see you later. So some 8-on-8 action. We don't usually see that too often. As Juwan Miller, guarded by Burns, instead feeds Jabari Craig. The bid man works on the former Ohio State Buckeye. Doug Plum wants a travel called there, partner.
It was a travel. I saw it.
Okay.
I saw it as soon as they did.
So his pivot foot moved up a bit.
Sure did. Did a little stutter step.
Jones, talking about a stutter step, takes the contact. Can't get love off the rim.
So tough. But that, again, that's what London wants to do like they did the last series. They took it hard to the rim fairly early in the possession and got the foul and got to the foul line, which has not happened much tonight yet.
London averages making 17.8 free throws out of 26.1 attempts over the course of 2022. And again, that leads to 68.4%. If you include the postseason and the regular season, the Titans shoot, 18.6 out of 25.8. That's 72.2, the best remaining team so far.
What are they shooting in the playoffs? That's the number that counts. Who cares about the regular season anymore? Honestly, it does tell you some history. But
yeah, it only tells you what they did the previous 24
so far,
games.
London in the playoffs has picked up their shooting percentage big time.
Well, they're shooting 50% tonight.
But they didn't get to the foul line very much, right? So
That's true.
it's also volume, right? It's not just good percentage, but how many times are you getting there? Like I said, London was nearly 40 times a game against Windsor. Windsor could just not stop them at the foul line.
We knew it was going to be crucial come the postseason. The Scarborough native pulls up the two-pointer. Jabari Craig can't get it to go. Great save by Jesse Jones. Craig to the far side to Darnell Landon.
This
3:18
is
remains
all
in the
without
second
Joel
quarter.
Kindred, right? This whole quarter he hasn't played.
Tyrell Tate can't get the two to go. It's Thomas on the board, the sixth man of the year and the Canadian Player of the Year here in the National Basketball League of Canada. Burns to the far side now to Jones. Jones stutter steps his way through the key, fades over the defender and hits nylon on Jabari Craig.
Sort of got him into a no man's place, but he just kept his head and kept his cool and made a fadeaway shot over the tallest guy in the court.
As soon as Jesse Jones crossed over midcourt, looked up at the scoreboard to see what the situation is. Well, your team's up by 4 with 2:40 remaining in the first half of play. Tyrell Tate with the circus-type shot. It won't go, and London pulls away the board.
Good challenge by Amir Williams. Career
Chance to
unfortunate.
cut this down to a one-possession game. Thomas, threes away, clings off the side of the rim.
He's muttering to himself. That was a wide open shot that he likes to take every time.
That's the second time, by the way, partner. Jones has crossed over midcourt and then gave a quick glaze at the scoreboard.
I think he's looking at
And
the time.
Maybe he needs to be
time on
looking
the
at the
clock.
board, or ball, I should say, as he almost had it picked away by Terry Thomas. No call on the court.
Great no call by Stellick that time.
Thomas to Jones. Thought about taking the open three. Instead, pops open the two. It won't go. Tyrell Tate back up the court. And there is an injured KW player. That was Jones after that previous play.
And he's appealing for a foul, but the play is long gone. Again, I thought it was a good no call by the referee Stellick. Rich Stellick underneath there. Amir Williams just stood his ground, didn't make any motion to the defender, to the offensive player, kept his hands up, and the offensive player created the contact. So
Joel Kindred is coming back into this game. Jesse Jones is going to, hopefully rest up. It looks like his one elbow's kind of banged up. Maybe that funny bone, if you will. It's not always so funny,
that's
though.
very possible. A little surprised Kindred's in here.
Also on the court right now for the Titans is Matt Newfield. He's a Victoria, BC native that went to UC Davis. Knocking down the 2 points is Tate, and his team now leads 53-47. Tate being double teamed at midcourt, gives it over to Burns. Team's down by 6 with 90 seconds left before the halftime break.
If London's smart here, they're going to go after Kindred.
Burns gets around the defense and kisses it off the square.
A bit of a comeback here. They were down by 10 for London. Now they're down by 4.
It's always a game of ebbs and flows in basketball, and we'll see how London can survive the tide at halftime.
That should be an offensive foul.
And it is on
Yes,
Tyrell Tate.
Absolutely. Haley moved his feet to stay ahead of him, and Coach Plum was giving him lots of credit. He put his shoulder right into him, did Tate. Great call by the referee that time. I think they're doing a terrific job, personally, the referees. Just the right balance of no calls and the correct calls.
Yeah, because at some point in a championship game, you do want to see the best of the best just play it out.
Absolutely. So far, it's been very consistent refereeing.
So Jordan Burns, remember, he didn't start off the year with the London Lightning. He's a product of the Austin Spurs of the G League. Gets
All
it to
night
Jermaine
long.
Haley.
Like I said last time we were here when you had the mismatch, that should be Haley all night long till they change up the defense.
The guy that drives the Tesla cruises down the baseline for two.
Tesla.
3 balls away. It won't go. Long rebound in the
Yeah.
lap of the Titans. It's their MVP, Joel Kindred. I should say the league MVP partner, as he's trying to get away from the sixth man and Terry Thomas. 3's away. It won't go.
Good challenge there by Thomas.
A chance to tie the game up or take a 1-point lead. Haley's gonna dunk this one up, and we're tied up at 53 all. Tyrell Tate trying to use his speed back the other way. I don't know if you say that's continuous motion, though, partner.
Well, he looked like he had picked up the ball by the time he got whacked from underneath, so they're giving it to him. A little bit early maybe, but I think he had just 2 hands on the ball starting his stride to the basket.
Okay, I'll give you that.
That's, I'm just saying, like it's a bang bang play, right? So you got to make a call right away.
By the way, I've talked about this in a previous playoff broadcast. Doug Plum's father, Mr. Plum, has been down in London, Ontario the last couple of weeks cheering on his son.
He's from out west, you said,
That's
right?
right, out in BC. And actually, he was talking about breaking up those third quarter slow starts. His team warms up at halftime. That was Dad's suggestion.
Oh, wow.
So last shot of the opening half. Burns can't get this one to go, and the buzzer hits. And the Titans on the road here in game one of a best of 5 have a 3-point lead at Budweiser Gardens.
Full credit to them as well. London's still trying to find out what competition brings. So just looking at the stats, pretty even on everything, shooting, fouls, 3-point thing. The biggest difference is turnovers, 8 for London, leading to 14 points off a turnover. Easy points for KW. That's really the difference.
The original starting 5 for both teams back onto the court. Amir Williams originally denied, couldn't get the second one to go, and they say this goes off of Haley last. Titans ball.
And there's the block party right there. I haven't seen too much of Mr. Walker here in the second quarter, but he started the first quarter, starting the third quarter.
Yeah, Neil Foreman, I just mentioned, a project manager. Well, he's been managing his players' time so far on the court pretty wisely, John, when you consider that guys like Walker and Kindred should have plenty of fuel left in the tank here in the second half. Walker from the free throw line, nothing but nylon.
That looked pretty natural to me. You could probably get that all night if you wanted.
Tyran Walker shot 57.4% from the field, but John, he only took 101 shots and made 58 of them. Amir Williams got fouled and took an extra hack. Walker.
Yeah, I think that was just a little bit coming down after he got ball faked in the air, Walker, and he landed on Amir Williams' shoulder. He looks like he's feeling really badly about doing that, but Amir Williams is in some pain down on the end of the floor. It's a great matchup, those two bigs. They know each other. They know each other well.
I'm not trying to read too much into it, John, but recall the last time the Titans played here in the regular season, the script was flipped. Walker was hurt, and Williams was the one kind of apologizing, not apologizing.
Yeah.
So Amir Williams being attended to by the coach of the year.
They're not pulling on his left arm or left shoulder. They're only lifting him up by his right arm. So I don't know if that's a stinger or if he really jammed it.
Well, it looks like Marique Isom is getting ready to come into this game for Williams. Williams, during the regular season, John, led the team with 67% shooting from the field. He made 138 of 206 buckets. That was 367 points over 567 minutes. And again, led the team not only in that field goal percentage, but with his 41 blocks and a little bit of a tough guy. 73 personal fouls also led the Lightning during the regular season.
Well, you can see how important he is to the team. The owner of the team, Vito Frisia, gave up his seat for him to sit in and called the trainer over. Sitting right beside the owner there. So Marique Isom, the best free throw shooter on London, is the sub. Now we know why, because he makes both of them. What do you say? He hit like 41 in a row or something?
That's right. He did set a league and franchise record with most consecutive free throws. He actually finished the regular season making 53 of 55. As this 3-ball will go down, that's Darnell Landon doing the damage, and the Titans lead by 6.
This is Haley and Kindred guarding.
Haley for 3, trying to retaliate, can't do it.
He settled too early for a 3. I should have taken him down to the post, taken Kindred for his 4th foul.
Jones pulls back the 3, nylon ripper. So without guys like Chad Frazier, Eric Ferguson, and the rookie of the year, Shaquan Barrett, got injured during warm-ups. That's why we haven't seen him on the court yet. His services aren't available for Neil Foreman. So 3 players not available, and yet it's guys like Tyran Walker with the blocks.
He just gobbled that one right up, that reverse layup. That's a foul on Jensen White.
Darnell Landon's speed, the MVP's tenacity and production, and Tyrell Tate's supporting cast has given Neil Foreman's Titans crew a 9-point lead in the second half on a court where nobody has won in 2022.
Jensen White's going off already. He's coming off an injury. He missed like all of the first round and a game before that as well. So I'm not sure if he's 100%, feeling 100% yet.
Tate battling it out with Haley. Haley not willing to give any real estate, so he kicks it out to Kendrick for a better view.
So 2 players to watch guarding each other here.
The most valuable player of the league can't get this one to go. Shoots an ugly stare at the official and has to get back on defense. Thomas into the corner. Haley 3 rattles out. That ball was halfway down the cylinder, John. Now Jones, man, the torpedoes. I'm kind of shocked that Doug Plum didn't call a timeout after that last bucket. His team now leads by 11. It's the largest lead of your Friday night for the visiting Titans as Burns, no call, gets the bucket.
Just forced his way in there. It looks like Audie is coming in because I think they need to negate some of the speed from KW Titans here. Audie's probably the quickest player on the team.
And he provides that defense that you need in the postseason. Right now, Isom's providing the defense, and Thomas is fouled. And by the way, I look over to the far corner, and Amir Williams trying to stretch it out.
Oh, that's on Walker, his second. I thought Kindred was right in the mix there with Terry Thomas drilling. Thought they may call on him for his fourth.
Tyrell Tate leading everybody on the court right now with 16 points. Jones with 13, and Kindred, who led the first quarter with 12, still at 12 right now. Burns can't get the first shot to go, goes after his rebound. The third opportunity, well, his pass is stolen by Darnell Landon. Jesse Jones tried to headhunt his teammate, Tyron Walker. Back the other way are the Lightning. Audie for three, it won't go down. Jones offensive board. Jones, power move underneath the basket, lost the handle, got it back. Open wing three, Burns misses his last two in a row. Another offensive board, though, for London. This time
two small guy in the court for London. Both get the offensive board.
Audie
makes
one.
an immediate impact. But the two smallest guys got the offensive board. Did you see that? 2 possessions in a row.
I mentioned Audie on the court during the warm-ups, John, that remember, he actually made his debut in this league in Kitchener-Waterloo against the Titans. And actually, it was during that game where Audie was just shy of the triple-double, John.
Wow.
Yeah, he was 9 assists, 9 rebounds. He was 1 assist and 1 rebound shy from the triple-double in his debut in this league.
He's a tenacious defender. We know that from his Carleton days, right? He's slight of frame, but he's quick and he's strong.
So now it's Joel Kindred. Nifty move to get away from Audie. Goes after Isom, rolls it off the rim. It won't go down. The Texas native on the board, feeds Jones, crosses midcourt, fouled by a fellow Jones that wears the number 3.
And that's the 4th team foul already. We're only at the 8-minute mark in this third quarter. This is a little more the identity of London Lightning.
Going back to Marcus Audie, the Toronto native actually went to Illinois Chicago for 4 seasons. That's an NCAA Division I school, where he started 92 of 123 games. He actually signed with the Lightning after playing for the Muscle Pikes in Luxembourg, where he started 18 of 18 games, averaging 33 minutes of court time per contest. Jones, no looker to Isom, the three's away, it won't go down. Jordan Jensen-White on the board. Audie's three won't go down. More offensive work, but Jones is pushed out of bounds and he feels like he's hurt. In fact, a teammate in Lance Adams helps Jones to get back to his feet. Joel Kindred, a burner in the corner. 9-point lead for the visiting Titans with 7:50 remaining here in the third quarter clock. Jordan Jensen-White to a fellow Canadian and Audie. They backtrack it to Jones, who's, well, letting the table set up, so to speak. Jones, after the basket, gets it down. He made Darnell Landon look foolish.
Yeah, he made the turn on the defender, and the defender didn't want to do a second foul. Would have been a second quick hit there if he did. Free lane to the basket. Okay, can London play defense, or can Kitchener still take
goes right after them. Got no love from the rim. Tyron Walker was the last to touch it with the bare paw.
A lot of contact there, but no call.
Tyron Walker is going to come off. Jabari Craig comes on. And again, for Neil Foreman, not a bad problem to have, as again, for a guy like Jabari Craig who comes into the contest, he's 6'10", filling in for the 7-footer in Tyron Walker. The spin around J is good. Jones is getting hot.
I don't know why the defenders let him go. They had him trapped, and all of a sudden they let him go, and he just did the turnaround. A small lineup here for London. Marika Isom called for the foul underneath on Jabari Greer, but
that's a ticky-tack call.
I was thinking, who was initiating contact there? Doug Plum on the floor, not happy with that call.
London
but no bigs on for London right now.
London led the league, John, in assists per game, 22. Steals per game, 8.2. Total rebounds, 50.4. And rebound margin, plus 6.2. Compared to all those numbers for the Titans, 18.3 assists, 6.9 steals, 49 total rebounds, and a minus 1.9 rebound margin.
KW, yes.
Yeah, you think those numbers might play a factor over the course of 4 quarters.
Absolutely. That time Isom got fouled by Greer, which I thought was the same circumstances the previous play, but
down by a nickel are the Bolts. Jones has been hot in this 3rd quarter, continues to light the lamp.
Getting his way, getting in the middle of the key, and that's 100% shooting every time. If you're open, just take it. Stop and pop. That's a foul. Reaching that time on Audi, I believe.
Either Audi or Thomas, they were both trying to do some damage to the MVP. Kindred's going to inbound here, guarded by Jordan Jensen-White. It is Jesse Jones, who's got 15 points. He's 7 of 11 from the field. Pulls up this 3. It won't go down. The rebound rattles out of bounds.
He thought he got fouled, but his own teammate crashed into his back that time.
So despite being now 7 of 12 from the field, Jesse Jones is 1 of 5 from downtown.
So far, a three-point ball hasn't come into play much in this game yet, right?
Yeah, to 3 or not to 3.
So it looks like
it wasn't Macbeth, right?
No, it's Hamlet. To be or not to be. To suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or by opposing them, perish in the doing.
Oh, you're pulling a Paul Westhead now.
There you go.
All right.
That's the soliloquy that he did, right? To decide to fight against the circumstances or not.
Audi gets called on this one on the push, and you know, John, we're giving him a lot of credit in the first half, and rightfully so, calling this right down the pipe. I'm not saying that's not the case now, but there's a lot of calls where it's just like, okay, let the boys play, no?
Well, the intensity is escalating a little bit too here, so I don't think they want to get out of control, but I didn't really see a lot in that one, to be honest with you.
Kindred finds Jones. Jones trying to get a quick dish to Jabari Craig. Pulled away, though, by the Bolts and Jordan Jensen-White. The Calgary, Alberta native gives it to the Nova Scotian. Terry Thomas attacks the rack and rattles it down for 2.
Absolutely. Put the pressure on the defense. Nobody came to challenge him, so he finished it off, and Isom was waiting in the wings for a dump out if he needed it.
With 5:45 remaining in the 3rd quarter of play, London gets their first taste of the lead in the 2nd half of action. Remember, they started off this game with a 7-0 run, and Kitchener-Waterloo is primarily dominated in the 2nd and 3rd quarter. Well, back and forth we go after that last bucket. The Titans now have the lead back in their possession. Crafty handling by Jones to Marique Isom. The 3 won't go down, and the bench really wanted that one,
yeah,
John.
That was a wide open look. That was a good play.
My word.
They're calling it a block. Oh, my goodness. That's a big call.
And Kindred threw the ball intentionally down to Jordan Jensen-White, who caught it on his back and threw it right back at Joel Kindred. I love that.
Well, now they're shaking hands back and forth, so that's a...
Them 103.5. So again, you are watching the National Basketball League of Canada Championship Series live on Cujo Entertainment. He's John Van Howling, and I'm Jonathan Urbanowicz, and we're happy to take you through. Game 2 of this series will take place Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. But who's going to have the 1-0 series lead? You got to find out over the next 5 minutes of the 3rd quarter and more. Jordan Jensen-White, hand in the face of the MVP, Joel Kindred. Back to the Kitchener native, Juwan Miller. Directs traffic. He wanted the Scarborough native to come over for a screen. Didn't get it, and as a result, floats it off the front of the rim. The Calgary, Alberta native, Jordan Jensen-White, leaves it there for Jones. He'll be watched by Miller. 4:47 remains here in the 3rd quarter. Lightning trailing by 1. That was almost like a street ball move from Jones, and London still maintains possession. Jordan Jensen-White, 3's away. It won't go down, and as Haley crashed for the board, the ball bounced over him.
That was a good foul, I think, that time by Terry Thomas. Kindred was running wild. They had a man in front of him. Good stop to play. But still, no Biggs, no Williams, no Forte on the court for London. Haley's back in to give a little more size, and Audi is off at the moment. Looks like Williams is reporting to the bench, which is awesome for London.
Tyrell Tate down on the baseline. Shimmies Jones down to the court, and he's getting called.
Oh, my goodness. I was wondering what was going to happen there. Big mismatch, which he was trying to take advantage of, but he just bullied his way, and Chris Jones stood his ground.
When I look up at the scoreboard, though, partner, 71-70, 4:29 left in the 3rd quarter, I kind of think, are we at the auditorium right now? Because remember,
all nail biters, right?
110, 108, 103, 102, 106, 103.
It's the playoffs, Johnny. Anybody can play in the playoffs and make it a good game. I'm telling you, they're here for a reason.
And they upsetted the Sudbury Five in the opening round of the postseason after the London Lightning swept up Windsor. Rejecting this one with a bit of authority was Jabari Craig.
My goodness, came out of nowhere. I thought that was going to be an easy little putback for
You get a nice
White.
lower bowl seat here at Budweiser Gardens. You think, okay, everything's going to be all right. And then you get a basketball to the face, courtesy of Jabari Craig.
That's possible, yeah. Oh, tough turnaround.
Terry Thomas can't get it to go. It's Darnell Landon on the rebound, pushing the pace with numbers through midcourt, as Landon's actually going to set up the chessboard, so to speak, right now with Terry Thomas guarding him. Over to the most valuable player of the league in 2022. Now Jabari Craig meeting with Amir Williams. Kindred is rejected. Haley back the other way. The BC boy leaves it there for Terry Thomas. Thomas into the key. Craig got a piece of it, then got a piece on Williams. No call on the play, John. Haley steals it. Thomas, 2 points on the board.
That time KW did everything right, but tried to push the ball up too quickly and turned it over. Otherwise, terrific defense underneath.
Tyrell Tate, the former Sudbury Five, has the ball in his possession right now. His team trails by 1. Looks up at the basket, takes his shot. It won't go down. He was hot to start this game, John. So far, right now, he's got 16 points. He's 5 of 12 from the field. Similar story to Jesse Jones. Jones is 1 of 5 from downtown. Tate's 1 of 3.
And we haven't seen much of Jones lately, but I think he's coming on the floor now. Jensen White looks like he's got his second win, if I can say that, right? Because he looked a little gassed in that first half a bit. His coach is coming off a bit of a layoff as well.
Now again, this is just game 1 of a best of 5, but when you consider that, John, other categories to do damage production-wise.
So true. London has only attempted what? Well, more than I thought. 5 of 21 from the 3, 6 of 16. More than KW. I'm a little surprised at that stat, to be honest with you.
Getting some love from the rim on his first shot is Jordan Jensen White, and the lead's been pushed to 2. Chris Jones, that big third quarter of action from him now makes him the leading point getter on the court with 21 points. He's 8 of 13 from the field and 4 of 5 from the charity stripe. And as a result, his team that is, let's say, struggling from the free throw line during the regular season, John, don't jump on me yet, has really improved in the postseason, but it's going to matter most in this championship game.
So Haley challenging there with Greer.
Now the whistle came before the alley-oop was thrown in there.
I'm really curious what that means. That ball, I think they're in the bonus now, so he's going to be shooting either way, but I don't think it was a shot attempt. What I was going to say is Jesse Jones, of course, is the leading scorer for KW 17, but he had to sit for quite a bit of that quarter with 3 fouls. But he's back on the floor right now.
Jones, as I mentioned, is an Irvington, New Jersey native. He went to Bridgeport, which is an NCAA Division II school. He started 1 game. That was a senior night, John, at a 51 contest, 1,145 minutes, 637 points for the Bridgeport Purple Knights. The Purple Knights. Jabari Craig can't get love off the rim, blows down to the deck off the miss.
Well,
He's going to have to get back
that
off
was a
his
good box
keister.
out by Jordan Jensen White that time.
3 ball for Terry Thomas, clings out, and it's Tyrell Tate on the board. Speeding across midcourt, puts on the brakes and leaves it there for Jesse Jones. Basketball Jones with 2:35 remaining in the third quarter. His team trails by 2. Being guarded by Terry Thomas, the Canadian Player of the Year and 6th Man of the Year here in 2022. Darnell Landon over Jordan Jensen White. It won't go down. Hits the smaller Jones, rebounding it away from Juwan Miller. So you have Jones and Miller going at it as Miller, well, bewildered by Jones's handles.
Yeah, and his head fake. I like the little head fake. He faked right, went left.
We almost have like a battle of the smalls going on between
We do at the
Miller
moment,
and Jones,
yeah.
and the battle of the bigs and Jabari Craig and Amir Williams also going on at the same time. Watch out for these two. It's Tyrell Tate and Jermaine Haley. All game long they've been going after each other. Tate ran into traffic and simply put himself into gridlock. So Jones, who's leading everybody on the court with 23 points, kicks it out to Amir Williams. Power moves is no call. Jones says, give me that rock back, and can't cap off the play.
Wow, what a sequence of events. No basket.
Jesse Jones travels down the baseline, gives it to Darnell Landon, 3's away, won't go. Amir Williams on the
Great
board.
box out. You see that? And he just tapped the ball to his fellow defender.
So lots of action. Not a lot of points the last 2 minutes here at Budweiser
But the
Gardens.
score is 4 points in the lead for Lightning now, for those that are keeping track here.
Terry Thomas to Amir Williams.
Wow.
Oh my word, and one.
You see the hands on some of the hips here for the KW Titans. They're looking a little tired to me at the end of this quarter. London seems to be picking up energy.
So you remember in the first half where you were elbowing down going, oh, look at the score, John, look at the score. And I said, we'll see how it is in the fourth quarter. That's why. Because honestly, since the very beginning of this season, all the way back on Family Day, February 21st, teams have predominantly stayed neck and neck with London over the first 1, 2. I'll even give them 3 quarters, John. But man, oh man, I think it was an omen. Their head coach, Doug Plum, is preparing for a marathon. Every pregame, he's running in the stands training for it. And he told me before the season ever began that no team in this league is going to outwork us. And yet, with their head coach practicing for a marathon half the time during their warm-ups, that's the standard that was set. And over 4 quarters of action, it really feels like London always wins the marathon. Will they make me choke on my words tonight, though? The Titans are trying to do that.
Well, you know what he did? He said on the radio today he ran 10 miles at 6 o'clock this morning because he couldn't stay in bed. He was too excited, so he had to run off his nervous energy, is what he said.
Cameron Forte, big defensive play and a rebound, capped off the other way by the Canadian Jermaine Haley. You've asked for more out of Haley throughout the year, John, and he's certainly given it to you.
Dribble
Jones
out of bounds.
steps out of bounds. That's all because of the defensive pressure being applied by Burns. And good on Jordan Burns. 2 of 7 from the field, 0 for 2 from downtown, just 4 points. So I got to get it done some other way, and he's disrupting the offense of the Titans.
At some point in time, they're going to need a couple threes from him just if they want to get some separation from KW.
Forte, alley-oop from his teammate and Chris Jones.
And that was a screen set by Terry Thomas, right? That was a set play.
London pulling away with this one, John, late in the third quarter. A 9-point lead. Remember, they trailed by 11 at one point.
Kindred's on the bench again, right? Trying to keep him fresh. That was just the last little reach in at the last minute by Forte. He had played pretty decent defense, and then he slapped at the ball.
And you see Jermaine Haley shooting over to the near side official, pleading his case too.
Because the player sort of fumbled, right, the ball, but then there was the slap.
And that's huge because, again, I think about all these free throw opportunities Kitchener-Waterloo's getting it, and they're not and ones, John. My point is that there could be 3-point plays coming from the Titans throughout this game, but instead, well, they've gone to the charity stripe to try and do their damage there, where they're shooting 72.7%. That was before that last make by Tyrell Tate. If I'm not mistaken, I think the scores official put the wrong points on the board there. No, they did. All right, so now it is 74-83. The long inbound from Forte. Haley turns it around. Now, interesting to note, that might have actually accounted. Why? Because they didn't start. Jabari Craig and Tyran Walker all have 3 for the London Lightning. Marique Isom with 4 fouls. And it's Jordan Jensen-White with 3. Those are the only ones in trouble territory. So here we go. It's the fourth quarter of action in Game 1 of a best-of-5 in the National Basketball League of Canada Championship Series. The most valuable player of the league, Joel Kindred, to the Kitchener native, and Juwan Miller. Leaves it there for Darnell Landon. The Woodbridge, Ontario native goes back to the MVP, and Kindred battles it out with Terry Thomas.
Terrific defense by Terry Thomas. That was such a contested shot. He had very little chance of putting that in.
No real estate to utilize there from the defense from Terry Thomas. Now Jones, he's blaming himself, and rightfully so. A little too much mustard on that pass to Cameron Forte.
Yeah, just a little too late as well.
Although I will say this, if you're 6'10" like Cameron Forte is, just get your body in the way. Don't stick out the bear paw. You know what I'm saying, John?
Not quite.
Oh, come on. You're 6'10".
That analogy,
instead of reaching out with your arm, move your shoulder over, and if your arm doesn't catch, it hits your body. It stays in front of you. Matt Newfield, the Victoria, BC native, can't get the shot to go. It bounces back to the Kindred MV. You know, they say you got to be lucky to be good. Good to be lucky.
You got to have a nose for the ball, and that's what he's got, right?
Burns gets away from him.
Beautiful bounce pass.
Feeds Forte. No
Forte
love off the rim.
Can't convert. That was a terrific bounce pass.
Cameron Forte, 2 of 4 in this game, 4 points. Landon, corner 3, grazes the rim.
See
Jones.
Forte running out.
Led by Forte, bounce pass to Forte, power move around Tyrell Tate. He wanted a travel call, not going to get it there, partner.
But Forte, give him credit. He ran the floor hard and a great pass and perfect timing for the layup.
Leads back up to 9. Burns, I usually say hand in the cookie jar. How about fist in the cookie jar? He just tried to punch at the ball that time. He'll pick up his 3rd foul of this game. And Burns, I mentioned it time and time again throughout this broadcast, he had 29 points in that Game 3 elimination contest over the Windsor Express in Windsor. Tonight, though, 2 of 7 from the field, just 4 points. But as I say that, his ears must have been burning and said, you know what, I'll get it done on the defense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jones stutter stepping his way to the basket, and 1 for Chris Jones. John, this is a guy that missed 6 games due to a suspension, and to be honest with you, it looks like he never missed a beat coming back to the court. I don't know what that was, whether he was trying to get his teammates pumped up or he's trying to say a little something to the KW bench. I'm not 100% sure.
Well, he overpowered his defender that time and had
What
the
was
advantage.
he doing there at midcourt?
I don't know.
It was like he was pretending to bounce a basketball.
I don't know.
Come on, John,
I'm
help
not
me out.
speculating.
Help me out.
Can't speculate.
Well, regardless of whether he's doing it at midcourt, it's more important what he's doing at the charity stripe, and that's making free throws.
That's what he's doing on court as well. Just putting a lot of pressure on the defense with his dribble penetration.
Time is of the essence for the Titans. Under 10 minutes remains in this 4th quarter in a game that they now trail by 12. Jesse Jones, who's got 15 points in this game, to Tyrell Tate. It won't go down. Matt Newfield got the rebound. Partner, I thought he was fouled. Instead, Forte pulled away the rock, leaves it there for Jones. Burns for the 3. He needs that one, partner. But Forte, recycling bin. Now I thought Newfield got all ball. He's not getting the he's getting the short end of the stick on both ends of the court.
Just get Forte credit again. He hustled down, got in position, put the defender in a bad position. Most of the time, it's going to go against the defender if you're not in a good defensive position. And Stella's just explained it to him.
And there really wasn't any argument from Newfield, so he obviously...
It's just you don't get much love from the referees if you're not in a good defensive position and you try to make a block or a steal or a charge. So,
but to that point, I didn't think London was in a good defensive position.
They weren't.
And I thought they got on his forearm there.
I'd have to have a look at that one again. So, was it all ball? Must have been, I guess.
And yet, Murphy's Law, I think it's all ball for him on this side of the court. No, that's when the foul gets
Great pressure by Burns again. They turn it over on the throw-in. Burns pressuring number 3, Mr. Jones.
Titans led by 11 in the 3rd quarter, John. And right now, with 9:37 left in the 4th, they trail by 14, and now they're losing possession of the ball.
Eh? What a turnaround. Well, I said they started looking tired in the last 2 minutes of that 3rd quarter. I saw hands on the hips, and they just started looking winded.
Well, you were trying to goat me in the 1st quarter when they led by 7. You tried to goat me in the 2nd quarter when they led by 10. You tried to goat me in the 3rd quarter when they led by 11. But I said, hold up, partner. Let's wait to the 4th quarter. And yet here we are.
What are you trying to say, goat? What that mean?
You were trying to gun me into thinking, okay, this is going to be a contest at the end of the day. And I'm going off of this thing I call statistics. And I go, you know what? That's never happened in this building in 2022.
I was just giving KW credit for battling all the way till basically last minute of the 3rd quarter.
But that's the issue. Last minute of the 3rd quarter. We needed in the battle of the last minute of the 4th.
Yeah. But like we have been saying all year long, Dave, London wears you down.
Hand down, man down, but the ball won't go down for the Victoria, BC native. Back the other way, East Preston, Nova Scotia's finest, Terry Thomas to Haley. Got the ball back. Thomas for 3. Rebound pops out to Kindred. 8:50 remains on the clock. Down by 14. They're going to have to get points. Open 3 for Jones. It won't go. Both teams are cooling down from beyond the arc. To 3 or not to 3. Remember, John?
That's right.
Jones and Forte working together. Try to get it back to Forte. They're going to say this went off of Jones, though. That's Jesse Jones last, and it'll go back into Chris Jones' team's possession.
Forte has a complete mismatch underneath there. Neufeld cannot stay with him foot-wise. Or I think...
Now, I was talking about, Forte's lack of production over the first 3 quarters, John, well, now all of a sudden 8 points, 7 rebounds.
Yeah, and to London's credit, they're exploiting that mismatch as well, right? But now Walker's back on, and we know Forte struggled against Walker.
Well, and you're saying that and recognizes that and flips the script. Haley tries to do it back by reversing it. Forte is starting to heat up, partner.
Yeah,
With that bucket, he's now just 3 rebounds shy of the double-double.
He is terrific around the offensive basket. Just has a nose for the ball, was so hungry for it, and gets himself into position so often for the putbacks.
The first time these two teams saw each other on Family Day, Cameron Forte had 26 points, 17 rebounds in 35 minutes of play. The next time he saw them, 32 points and 9 rebounds. And then in the last game against them, John, he had an absolutely thrilling game where he competed for 22 points and 14 rebounds. The point is, he plays big against the Titans.
And that time, Plum was giving him lots of love because he did a great job. He got a great post position on Walker, but Walker had a good defensive position, and he kicked it back out to Jones.
And it hasn't been lately.
But the change in style and change in personnel in the second half has really turned this game around, especially in this fourth quarter.
Well, I'll throw this at you, John. Lightning went 12-0 here at home. They're looking to go to 15-0 if you include the postseason games. How many of those 15 games, though, would you say were true masterpieces? To me, I think maybe 1 or 2.
Yes, and they won all kinds of different ways at home as well. We did say that.
How was there no call on that play? A late whistle.
A late whistle, but that's the right call. He did a nice step over. I think the defender was still also in the hash mark or the half circle there, and he was totally outmatched by size as well.
Now, maybe a weird question. What do you take away from the next 7:24 if you're Neil Foreman and the Titans, knowing that this game is starting to 19 points? It's not completely undoable, but if you can't chew into that 19 points in the next 7:24, what kind of message you want to send for Sunday's game, knowing that in theory, if you don't win that one, your back's truly against the wall, facing elimination?
Yeah, so I think they'll have a good look at the first half, see what they did right and what really threw off London, and look at the different combinations that London threw in the second half. One of the keys is they're really going to have to preach to stay out of foul trouble. That's one of the keys.
I'd love to know what the coach of the year and most valuable player of the year on opposite teams are talking about right now. Well, Haley's making these free throws.
Well, KW has played well most of this game. I noticed they're getting tired already at the end of the third quarter. They definitely look tired in this fourth quarter. But if they can get their addition of 2 players back, that'll be a big help as well.
Yeah, they literally are lacking depth in the championship game at the worst time possible. This is a long 2 from
Should be
Jones.
A 2, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, his foot was on the line. I don't need the official to help me out on that one.
Good eyes. I noticed it as well. But good call. Big mismatch here with Haley.
Haley trying to go after the smaller Jesse Jones, leaning in that lead shoulder spin move. What are they calling here? Foul?
A holding foul, I think. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, on the spin move, he's just too quick. Overpowered him.
But he didn't hold him.
I tried to hold him, so that's the same.
Forte,
Gonna do his
battle
little
of
hook
the
shot.
bigs. Forte, that left-hander.
Told you, as soon as he gets that shoulder turn, you're dead meat.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
It doesn't matter how tall you are.
The skyhook. Terry Thomas not liking that one as Kindred draws a foul out of him.
Well, you got to like it, right? Now you're up by 21 points. I mean, that's a pretty big lead at this point in the game. But Thomas is still playing like as physical as he started the game, right?
And for Haley, Terry Thomas, and Amir Williams, they've all poured in 14 points. By the way, that last rebound from Cameron Forte, the double-double. He's got 12 points and 10 rebounds.
He's so effective in the minutes that he plays, doesn't he?
Burns looked like he got all ball, and then the official says, hold up a minute, I think he touched the forearm.
That's a little tough one. I mean, the referee called it, so he must have saw it, but it's a little tough when the referee underneath the basket didn't call it because he's the closest one. So that's a referee that's farther away, but he probably had a better angle on it.
London averaged 109 points per game. That was the league best. They have 99 points on the board now, John, with 6:22 remaining.
What was the score to third quarter?
Yeah, they could get up to the 1-0.
Like, well, I was surprised because I did not think they were going to hold KW to under 100 points.
So I said this before halftime, and I'll reiterate it. London, historically in 2022, was god-awful to start off the third quarters. In fact, it was talked about time and time again in the locker room. And I mentioned how Doug Plum's father has actually come down from BC here to Ontario to watch his son's playoff performance. Well, actually, after watching game 1 against Windsor, he said, why aren't you having your guys warm up? So after that game, they've actually brought out basketballs at halftime, and just like they do in the NBA, has a halftime warm-up, just like
He doesn't shoot as many threes or make as many threes as the other teams in the league, so it's not their primary focus on offense, but it is one of KW's primary focus, and London has taken them out of it.
Yeah, despite the fact that London is actually shooting 3.3% worse from downtown, it's the KW Titans. Another block from Tyron Walker. Doug Plum wants goaltending. It's not goaltending, though, partner. Jesse Jones kind of blocked himself from a shot. Dagger 3 from Terry Thomas. Nail in the coffin.
That's a big turnaround there, yep.
22-point lead for the home team. Kindred trying to respond, can't do it. Burns on the board.
Yeah, he's done it on the defensive end, has Burns.
And that's something maybe Doug Plum has instilled on his players, like Isom and Burns, where if you're not going to get done offensively, you got to help me out in other ways, and they certainly do so.
Well, they certainly put the clamps on in this fourth quarter. That's just crazy.
And Mender, you mentioned that carry thing in the first quarter of play. There's a lot of carrying up the court there, partner.
I know. I'd have a hard time guarding my grandson if he could carry the ball like that. He's only 3, so sheesh.
Interesting. Tyron Walker's coming out, partner. You think they'd want him on the court as much as possible. Matt Newfield comes in.
I think he's done for the day. So how many points have they scored in this quarter? 6 points is all as KW scored in this quarter.
And that was after being limited to just 18 in the third. They were outscored 30-18 in that third quarter of play. And again, I keep hitting this point. Predominantly, London had dismal third quarters throughout the entire regular season. So Jones makes this one, and now it's a 20-point deficit. Jones perfect on this trip, and as a result, well, his team shows by 19 points, John.
I'm just seeing how many players London has played tonight. I think they played 9 or 10 players tonight.
Well, we haven't seen Josiah Massandrea, we didn't see Lance Adams, and we certainly haven't seen Abendigo Lufiel.
Yeah, so I see 9 players have hit the court so far for London tonight, and all have played a fair amount of minutes.
Cameron
Other than maybe
Forte.
Audie, he played a spot 5 or 7 minutes, but he was very effective.
So Jesse Jones using that speed to his advantage, bursting up the court, leaves it there for Kindred. Kindred's floater's up, rattles around, and goes down.
He's had to work so hard for his points tonight.
I said it was the nail in the coffin after that Terry Thomas 3-ball, but let's face it, 4:45, there's still technically lots of time to come back into this game. They just need to start with defensive stops. Chris Jones leading everybody on the court with 31 points. Check that, 33.
All night long, he's been getting inside that key, inside the foul line, and doing a little step back. The defender leaves him every time. I don't know why. You know he's going to shoot it.
13 of 19 from the field, 2 of 4 from downtown, and he gets another defensive board here. He's now got 8 rebounds in this game too, partner. Forte. Does he go to that patented left hand? He wanted to, partner, but a little stymied. Now Jones spinning off of a fellow Jones using a Forte screen. Goes after the rack. Got fouled on the way.
Just put the ball underneath his arm just like a football, right? He knew he was going to get a hack. He didn't want it stripped. So Forte's coming off, gets a nice high five from Doug Plum and his teammates. He was very effective in that fourth quarter when there were mismatches all over the floor for him.
When Amir Williams came onto the court, though, partner, I got to mention it, he kind of grabbed onto that left shoulder a little bit. So still feeling a little worse for wear from that first half
and,
altercation.
A little bit short turnaround, only 1 day break, right, till Sunday.
Well, I mentioned this at the beginning of our game, though, that both of these teams have come off of elongated rests, in my opinion. The last time that the KW Titans played was on Saturday, May the 21st. That's when they beat the Sudbury 5-1, 11-98 at the Auditorium. For the London Lightning, you go back to Friday, May 20th. That was in Windsor. So, you know, a long period of time, a week for London and 6 days for KW before this first game of a championship.
Yeah, and London had everybody dressed tonight as well, full lineup.
Well, remember too, partner, like a guy like Jalen Tate, who was put on the injury reserve list, is now officially off the team. So that makes sure that a guy like Jordan Burns is not going to go anywhere. Haley, loose change, pockets it for 2.
He's so quick for a big guy, right? Because he's also built very well. He's 6'7", 6'8", but he's just really cat-like reflexes, and he just gets that first step going.
He's got 16 points in this one. Remember, he had 27 points in 5 rebounds in 38 minutes in the 107-97 Game 2 victory over the Windsor Express here at Budweiser Gardens.
It's a foul on Joel Kindred shooting the 3. Schroeder shot his hand in between Kindred's arms and brushed it by his face, is what Stellick is saying.
So remember how I was saying the games at the auditorium are really close and the games here at Budweiser Gardens not so much? Well, here we are. 3:26 remaining in the fourth quarter. Kindred does make this one, though, to cut the deficit down to blackjack, 21.
Well, I like that Stellick is just talking back with Haley there.
He's not afraid. I was talking with the scorers table officials before this game. We kind of talked about, there is a little bit of a history, if you will, between the officials here tonight and the London Lightning over the course of the 12 games here at Budweiser Gardens in the regular season. But, it goes both ways.
I agree. Yeah.
You can only take so much lip service without wanting to give a little bit of it back.
So I think not lip service. You only take so much lip. Lip service means I'm catering to you, I'm giving in to you, I'm just telling you what you want to hear.
A wedgie, John!
A wedgie? Oh, my goodness.
Do you know what that is?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
Yes. My sons used to suffer those. My youngest one used to suffer from his brothers all the time. So
there's a little fan. I mean,
that's cute, eh? Yeah.
He's like Thor with the rings with those mini basketball.
Back on the floor
again.
again.
No. His sibling thinks this is a game. Chris Jones has also been deking out the Titans, trying to deke out a 3-year-old child on the baseline.
Probably a good move to play with the balls behind the seats.
I would also say if I was the parents, maybe I just put the toys away for the next 3 minutes.
Or to have them play behind me, right?
So Terry Thomas, he was their player to watch here tonight for the London Lightning. He finishes, it's not over yet, but he has 17 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists. No love off the rim for Kindred, and that really kind of summarizes the last 2 quarters for him. Although he does have 22 points, he had 12 after the first quarter of play.
Yeah, they made him work for all those points as well. That's part of it, it's like you're playing the guy from the Mavericks, right? And Dallas Mavericks.
Luka Doncic?
Yeah, he's making all kinds of points, but
3-ball splash!
How hard do you make him work to get it? It means the other teammates are not getting any action, right? So that's what sort of happened tonight. They made Kindred work very hard for his points tonight.
Well, and just like Luka and Dallas, Joel Kindred here at KW steps out of bounds. But my point was he needs more of a supporting cast.
Well, he had some early on in this game, but he's hurt himself by foul trouble as well. He's been hounded by the London defenders, and KW did not adapt in the second half to what London was doing to him.
I'll go off your point. You're right. He did have 2 fouls early in the first quarter, but I go back to kind of the, hindsight is and sometimes, for Neil Foreman, he had the foresight to try and think, I'm going to limit his time on the court and save him for the end of the game. He needed him in that second quarter to stay hot, and it probably would have kept his team in it.
Yeah, like this team stayed in the game, but like we said, at halftime, KW had played so well without Kindred in the second quarter, and they're only up by 3.
Jesse Jones was 1 of 7 before that 3-ball, now 2 of 8.
So next time you're thinking maybe you're going to keep him in, right, even with foul trouble. He's that important.
Haley going after Jones. Haley, he did the earmuffs as soon as he threw that pass. Yikes.
He thought Terry Thomas was going to spot up for a 3, but instead he cut to the basket.
95 seconds remains here in game 1 of a best-of-5 National Basketball League of Canada championship game. And it is the London Lightning, who are technically a perfect 14-0, looking to go to 15-0 here at Budweiser Gardens in the year 2022. Joel Kindred, the MVP, can't get this shot to go down, and it is Jones pulling away the board. That's his 9th rebound of the game. 1 more for the double-double fix for Chris Jones. And Jones being the maestro on the court, too. He's telling the fans to get loud here, approaching the final minute of play. He's showing off that N1 mixtape ball handling skills, well hyping up the crowd. And this is the nail in the coffin again. An extra one for good measure, hammered in there by Chris Jones. 39 points to go along with 9 rebounds and 4 assists. Jones leading it on and off the court. He's literally clapping hands with some of the fans and realizes, oh yeah, there's still 50 seconds left in this one. Jones, 3 balls away. I think maybe getting a piece of it was Lance Adams. Burns pulls away the rock, and now it is Lance Adams, the Flint, Michigan native, crossing over midcourt and giving it to Terry Thomas. Titans still playing defense here, John, despite the fact that they do trail by 23 points in the final minute of play. Thomas adds to it, and now Lightning have 116 points on the board.
And they're going to hold the Titans to under 100, which I did not think with that high-scoring first half and really sort of a high-scoring beginning to the third quarter that they would hold KW to under 100 points.
John, they held the opponents to a league best 98.5 points during the regular season. The Titans don't even get that far. It's a 116-91 victory here on your Friday night. Lightning win. Lightning win. They've taken game 1.